Piety and fear of the Lord is an incredible gift of the Holy Spirit. It reminds us that God is all powerful, that God can give life or take life in a second, and that God has power beyond our comprehension. And it doesn't mean fear as in God would hurt us, because God is perfect love, but it means fear in knowing that we have to reverence the great and amazing power of God. When I was in World Youth Day, we were sitting at the waterfront, and there were thousands upon thousands of young people walking around with flags from countries all over the world, singing songs and dancing and just really enjoying the gift of being together. And it was an incredible sight. My young people wanted to get Starbucks. So there was a Starbucks and the line was forever long. And so I said, you go get in line and I'm going to sit right here. There were tables and chairs out front and I'll wait for you. And when you're finished, come right back here. So that's what we did. While I was sitting there, a very tall man came. He had on a long, full length leather coat with a big leather hat. And he said, may I sit with you? And I said, sure. So he sat down and we started to have a conversation. And he said, this is an incredible sight. And I said, I have never seen anything like it. And he said, I'm not Catholic, and I have never seen anything remotely like this in my life. The joy is just incredible to see. And I was so awed by that. And I said, why are you here? There are so many Catholics who would long to see what you are seeing, and they will never see it. And here you are. And how did you get here? Well, he was a pilot who had flown over a group of Franciscan friars. And so he was there. And he said, and I'm staying until after the Mass with the Holy Father. And then I'll be going back. I'll be flying them home. And he said, and I'd never been to Mass. I don't really know what it's about, but I am here. And I said, well, I'm going to give you a card. And we had brought holy cards of St. John Newman and St. Catherine Drexel, our Philadelphia saints. And on the back, we left them blank so that we could write notes to people and just give the cards away. And it was before cell phones. And so you weren't gathering contact information. And that was our choice of how to leave our imprint across the world with the people that we met. So I gave him a card and I wrote a prayer on the back. I can't even tell you what I wrote. And I said to him, when you go to Mass with the Pope, he will hold up a piece of white host, and that is Jesus. That is God, truly present, body, blood, soul, and divinity. So when you see that, I want you to say this prayer. And he said, I absolutely will. And he stuck the prayer in his pocket. As the conversation went on, he said, I know that God has an incredible purpose for my life. And I don't really know him yet, but I know that he knows me. And I know that he has sent me here for a specific purpose. And I said, well, how could you possibly know that if you don't have that gift of faith yet? And he said, well, I was the pilot that was scheduled for the second flight on 9/11. The second flight that went through the Twin Towers should have been my plane, but I couldn't get to work that day. He said, I was on the freeway and the traffic was horrible and I knew I wasn't going to make it. So I got off and I took a back road, and then there was an accident on the back road and I couldn't get there. And eventually I had to call the airport and say, I am really sorry, but I am not going to make my flight today. And he said, when a pilot can't make the flight, his whole crew doesn't make the flight. So they sent another crew. He said, and they died. But I'm here, and I know that God has me here for a purpose, that he saved me that day with that traffic because he saw me and he knew me. And now I'm going to get to know him. Wow. I still get goosebumps when I tell that story. He understood that God is real, that God is powerful, and that God saved his life that day because God had a purpose for him. And God has a purpose for you. We were created with a very specific purpose in the mind of God. St. Catherine Siena says, if you do what you are created to do, you can set the world on fire. That's powerful. What is God's purpose for you? What has God created you to do? Know that he is powerful. Know that he loves you. Know that you need to have reverence for him and love him. Obey his laws because they are not to put you in a box. They are to keep you safe. Have that fear of the Lord, that healthy fear of the Lord that says, Lord, I know you're powerful, but I know you love me. God bless you.